Good evening and welcome to another edition of the Sunday Bunch. We are live, which means it's good because you can have your say via the live chat. So get your comments in there. We'll try and mention as many of you as we can. Joining us on the panel tonight, we've got Terry, Emma is there, and we got the new boy, Jamie's joining us as well. Terry, how's your day been?
Oh, it's been a terrible weekend for the Sunderland got beat yesterday. My coupon went down. It's been raining like cats and dogs where I was, and I can't find my bubble hat anyway. It's been an absolute nightmare weekend.
Terrible weekend. Terrible. Emma, how's your day been?
A lazy one, really. Just went to see the in-laws and chilled, really. Not much.
Did you get on with the in-laws? Are they all right?
Aye, spot on.
All right,
I get on with them. I must be the only one in history that gets on with that in-laws, like, but you know.
All right, listen, joining us tonight is his first time, so he's a little bit nervous, so we could be easy with him, go gently with him. It's Jamie, unknown, as he's known to his friends, the mullet man down there. Jamie,
oh, yeah.
Jamie, how's your day been?
It's been okay, I suppose.
Been all right for a Sunday.
Bike riding around. Sunderland.
Right, okay. Listen, what we're going to do, already on the chat, we got SJ is on there. Ian Petersall called the start of Lord Mick Griffiths on there. Even Emma's on the stream, and she's even in the chat as well. Miggy Stewart, everybody's on there. Thanks for joining. Don't forget, have your say via the live chat. Join in the show with us. We are going to start. Terrible day yesterday. Of course, Coventry City 3, Sunderland 0. We'll get to it later on. Even I'm going to concede that the automatics have gone, which will cheer Terry up. I knew it would. First question I want to ask you all. All right, I'm going to start with you, Terry. Is that our worst performance in a long time? I mean, can you remember us being as bad as that?
We probably have been in the past in League One, but let's face it, this season that's the worst performance. Definitely the worst performance this season, and it's been coming, Phil. I've said it before. That's why I've said the top two went a few weeks ago. The performances have been tapering off bit by bit, and we've been losing our form completely. And you can see this coming, this kind of result. It was going to happen one day, and unfortunately, it was game Coventry yesterday. But yeah, it's been coming, Phil.
Definitely. Jamie, yesterday, was that our worst performance of the season?
By far, definitely. I don't even think we've been beat more than 3 goals this season, have we?
Not even 2, mate. Not even 2.
Jeez, yeah. That was awful. What was his name who got the hat-trick? Haji White? Right, I think he's called.
Yeah, right. He got the hat-trick. But we didn't play well at all, the Jamie. Terrible.
Nah, we're not allowed to be confident, I don't think.
Right, okay. Emma? 3-0 yesterday down at Coventry. Was you confident before we started, and was it our worst performance of the season?
Worst performance, Phil. It was effing shocking. It was a goddamn disgrace. It's just like, that's not the Sunderland we've watched this season, and it's really boiled me. It really has, because I've got no words. It's just a goddamn disgrace. I wasn't confident. I thought, we'll at least get a point, go there, play for the draw with Coventry, away from home, champion, sorted, but not to get slaughtered, basically. It's what happened. We got slaughtered on that pitch.
Right, okay. Just very quickly, I want to include people on the chat. Where we at? David Joblin says, forget the playoffs. Giannis Gregory was a disgrace, and the carry on after the game was shocking. There's that underlying thing with the Sunderland and Coventry and stemming back to the Jimmy Hill thing. I remember it. I listened on the radio at the time. I've been to over the last 4 years. Was the shocking and worst performance of the season, apparently. Mick Griffiths says, haven't seen them that bad in a long time. David K, crap performance, but Bolton away in League One was worse. We'll remember that because that was our SAFC Fan TV day out, wasn't it?
Like I said, yesterday was probably the worst result in the Championship, I think.
Yeah.
Since we've been back.
Definitely. All right, then let's look at it like this. We were terrible. Were Coventry really good yesterday then, do you think? Which, again, I mean, I'm not trying to lessen the fact that we were bad yesterday. but them being, if they were really good, they might have made us look worse. Emma, do you think Coventry were really good yesterday, or was it just us being really bad?
I think it was a mixture, to be honest with you, Phil. We were found out, and Coventry were the ones that found out. They played right off the park. So I think it's more the fact that Coventry's found out, and they were just the better side. They were the team that was more up for it than us.
Right, okay. Just very quickly, before I pass this round, I'll go. John Swinney, who's our man, he's over in New Zealand, tuning in. Terrible, worst game of the season. Mark Rodham says, I would keep your hotel book in Philly. Right, okay. Oh, on that as well, my wife knows how much it's going to cost, so I got in a bit of bother with that. Terry.
Phil, are you?
Oh, I cannot honestly. Terry, were Coventry really good? I did get a message of a few Coventry fans saying that they were terrible in the week. Was it Derby who beat them, or somebody beat them, and they said they weren't good there? But a lot of them saying that was the best they've seen them play for a while. So Terry, were they really good, do you think?
I think we had no fight, no desire, no passion, no urgency in the side. I think when the players have realised the top two is gone, I think the minds have gone a bit, and I think they've relaxed a bit and thought, well, we're in the playoffs. Let's just get ready for the playoffs. And I don't think the heart and soul was in it yesterday at all. So it's a bit of both. Coventry is really up for the game because obviously they want to get into the playoffs. We kind of think, I think over collectiveness, like a lot of our players were like, well, you know, we're in the playoffs anyway, regardless. We can sort of take our foot off the pedal a little bit. I think they've kind of done that without realising, and they haven't really put a full performance in. Anywhere near a full performance. I think Coventry were good, yes. I'm not going to take nothing away from Coventry. They were good yesterday, and they deserved the win 100%. But I think we just didn't turn up. And that, like I said, over the last few games, that kind of performance has been steadily coming towards. And I think now it's come to a head. I think we'll see a slightly different Sunderland side after the international break.
Right, okay. Before I come to you, Jamie, on this, I want to go to the chat. John Nesbitt says Coventry have done us all a favour. Even the happy clappers now know we are a very poor team. I think you're probably going a bit too far there. I don't think we're that bad. Forget the playoffs. We are destined to be marooned in this division under this kid KLD for a very long time. I think, just a personal opinion, I think it's a little bit harsh, that. But Dan Wilk says men versus boys, like Terry said. We've been poor for weeks now. Jamie, yesterday, did I hear you say that you didn't think Coventry were that good, or do you think they were good, or what do you think?
I think it was a bit of both, you know. We were just that bad, but the Coventry were also amazing as well.
So do you think... So, Jamie, do you think that because we were so bad, we actually made Coventry look better than they were? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they looked amazing compared to us, like, didn't they?
Well, yeah, I mean, I just couldn't get out of my head. I don't even think I was really watching Coventry because I couldn't get over how bad we actually was, you know. But never mind.
We passed the ball as well, Phil. Let's face it, we didn't really pass the ball well, and a lot of our midfield was just non-existent yesterday.
Terry, I said exactly the same to Karen. I said, they're on thousands of pounds a week, and they can't even pass the ball to each other. The amount of times we lost possession stupidly, you know, their first goal, you know, could have been avoided.
Something more than meets the eye, though, what seems to be going on at this moment in time, because they have down tools a little bit. Now, you know, let's face it, a lot of people are saying, wait, if we play this the way we're playing now, we'll not make the final of the playoffs.
Well, yeah, well, I'm going to... Sorry.
We were fourth place for a reason.
Right. Well, yeah, I'm gonna come on to that anyway. So just before we do, we got 93 people watching the stream at the moment. If you can just do us a favor, hit the thumbs up, give us a like if you would. We try and get to 100 if we can on a Sunday. It'll take you a second to do that. And more importantly, if you're watching and you haven't subscribed to the channel, the bottom right hand corner, you'll see a little subscribe button. Click on that. Hit the subscribe. It's free to do so, and that will help the channel out also. Right. Next question then. We'll go Jamie, we'll go with you first on this. Do you think Regis Lebris knows his best team? Do you think he? There's a lot of chopping and changing, and I know Mundell did well, got that goal on Tuesday night against Preston, and so he came in instead of I think his place of Watson or whatever. But there's a lot of chopping and changing going on. He has Wilson on the bench, and then do you think he knows what his best team is, Jamie?
I don't think he does. I don't think he knows his best team at all. Like, what was it the other day? 4-4-2-2 was it? 4-4-2. That wasn't very good, isn't he?
Well, it's. I mean, for me, I don't know. It's. I've always thought he's been quite loyal to players and, keeps them in the team for a while. But it just seems recently like he is chopping and changing a bit. Emma, do you think he knows his best team?
I don't really know, Phil, because what I want to know is why did he start Rig yesterday, right? When you can see that Rig isn't his 100%. Do you know what I mean? Is it a case of he's got lack of options? Or is it a case of he's losing the plot, basically? Do you know what I mean? So I'm very, very on the fence with this one.
Yeah, it's well, again, the thing is, Emma, we're all managers, aren't we? We can all do the job better.
Exactly.
We all know why has he done that? Why has he done that? Why is he not playing in there? Why has he got him in that position? And we're all managers, and we all think we can do better. But he's the manager for a reason. Terry, do you think he knows his best team, or do you agree he's been chopping and changing recently, or what?
I think he knows his best team, but I think we've got a problem. We've got a problem with the recruitment and where we're trying to make it to the Premier League by bringing in players who have a young, talented, upcoming players, but with a history of injuries. So we're always going to have that, that sort of full medical table. I mean, you got Ballard, Serkin, Huggins, sick note as I call him, who's never played hardly ever, and Alesi. These are players who have been brought in because they've had an injury history and they've never getting to run out properly. I mean, Serkin with his wrist and his hamstring and this, that, and the other. Ballard's back for a couple of games. He's always out for 2 or 3 games. Back a couple of games, out again. Huggins never really been seen much. You got a sick note. I'm forgetting his name now because he shouldn't even be in the club. You got Samid. You got that other lad who came in from another club that never played yet. You've got Alesi. So you're getting all these players and paying all these wages just to fill up the medical room, and it's wrong. We need to really now start changing what we're doing and stop buying these injury prone players. Then that puts pressure on the likes of Job, Neil, and Riggs. So Riggs only 17. Riggs a bit like Job last season. He's been played that much. He's sort of worn out. Job again has been played, never been subbed or anything. He's always on the pitch. And Neil for the first time was subbed yesterday. And we're being a little bit hard lines where Brown came in for this experienced player to help these 3 youngsters. Never been injured in his history. He gets injured, breaks his leg. Then you've got the likes of Lefay who's come in. This top player from Roma, he gets injured straight away. So everything's on these 3 midfielders. Now, I don't think these 3 midfielders at this moment in time, they haven't got the fitness. They haven't got the sort of, they're running out of steam. They need a bit of a rest. We need to have some other midfielders in there. And all of this, eventually we'll see throughout the whole of the season, eventually you'll taper off. Last season was a prime example. We just dropped down to 16th after so long, and this season's the same. We played really well, and now we're tapering off. So there's got to be some sort of change for me and the recruitment side a little bit by stop buying in these injury-hit youngsters.
Do you think, just a quick one to you, Terry, then. So with what you're saying there, do you think that if we hadn't have had that start to the season we had, where we had a great start, right, winning however many games in a row, if we hadn't have had that start, do you think we'd have been in the same position as we were last season? Because it was the last half of the season. Like, was it Mike Dodds was in charge? Once Mike Dodds was in charge as well, after Beale. Do you think if we hadn't had that start, that's where we'd be? Do you think we're still at that level? Do you think?
I think we've got a good, you take all the injuries. I mean, every club has injuries. I think we've got a good core players. But when you got Alesi, who started at the beginning of the season, out for the majority of the season, you got Ballard in and out, Serkin in and out. Then you've got your 3 core, Job, Neil and Rick, but then you've got Brown who come in to sort of strengthen that midfield. And he's been out a couple of times this season. Eventually, you're going to taper off because the strength and depth's not there. Now, this is when we should have really strengthened in January, but we're not willing to spend the money because obviously we've seen what happened the other week when we said we're 8 million in debt or something. That's what we've gone over the season, or was it last? I'm not sure when it was, but we're 8 million in debt. I'm not sure if
that didn't include the Clark transfer though.
Exactly, but I mean, so we haven't even used any of that money anyway, have we? So the fear comes in as the only real sort of hope for after the January, and he gets injured straight away, played out of position, which for me is not really what we need to be doing. But we've had our hands forced with the likes of Watson and Mundell getting injured as well. But it is what it is. I think we're the same as last season. We're stronger than last season, but we're tapering off again. So how long before we get to be able to have a full season of going for it?
Right, okay. Let me quickly go to the chat. I want to try and include as many people as we can. D Hall says, Lampard did his homework and dismantled us. John Swinney down in New Zealand says, we need to bring Patterson up. Should have done better in the first and third goal. I didn't. Patterson's he's had a bit of stick off us over the weeks. I didn't see him massively at fault. Myself, my personal opinion. John Stedman says we weren't bothered. Some terrible performances. Mepham was shocking. It was a disgusting performance from him, considering he's from a Premiership club. Mongrels against pedigree. Somebody says we didn't play well at all. Football. Or Roberts should have been dropped weeks ago. He's terrible. Wilson is wasted on the bench. A couple more in here just before I go on. Where was it? What I wanted to bring up? If I find it quickly, sorry. No, I can't find it. I'll have to find it. Doesn't matter. Right. 104 people on the stream. Hit that thumbs up. Give us a like, please, if you would. I hope not, but I'm going to ask this question. I hope this is not the case. But have the team given up on the automatics? Then I know, Terry, you've written them off ages ago, but I would hate to think that the team has. Emma, do you think the team's written them off? Because that's what it looks like.
I think they've written them off weeks and weeks and weeks ago, Phil. I don't think they've ever wanted to go for automatics. Once we started to drop down the table and we're sitting comfortably with, well, I wouldn't say we're guaranteed playoffs because anything can happen, but with us sitting comfortably where we are, what is it like? Are we 17 points or something, clear of 7th place, some stuff like that? I think they're just taking their foot off the gas and relaxing a bit. I just don't think they've got it in them.
Right. Okay. So you think they've given up weeks ago, right? Okay. Which is even worse. I'd like to think that they haven't given up at all. But Terry, do you think the team have just given up on the automatics?
I think the quality's told over the last couple of months. I think the strength and depth with Leeds, Burnley, and Sheffield United, they're clearly the 3 better teams in the league. The strength and depth, the parachute payments, it all came to a head where they're better than us. And we're getting to our level where we are. We're not really sort of going to be able to last the full season against 3 squads like that. So I think the players have realised that. And now I think in the mind, half of the mind sort of thinking, right, let's get ready for the playoffs. So they're not going to put 100% in because you don't want to get injured, do you, for starters? And I think there may be something else going on. I don't know. It just seems that the form has tapered off a little bit since Dodds has left. And I don't want to say that's any kind of issue whatsoever. I don't know. But for me, there was just no sort of, nobody seemed interested yesterday. And it just seemed so strange to have a whole team, all playing off at the same time. Which for me, there's just like, there's something doesn't seem right. I don't know what it is.
Right, okay. On that thing with Mike Dodds, on the chat, I'll come to you just now, Jamie. SFC Tom says we've dropped off since Mike Dodds left. And I mean, I know we used to laugh at it. We don't rate Mike Dodds as the manager, although, he's gone to Wickham to do that. But we did also say he might be a fantastic coach. And maybe we are missing Mike Dodds. Who knows? SJ says we've dropped off since the Leeds game. Marianne and Carl Taylor, who are over in Boston, Massachusetts, over in the United States, say, hi, guys. Why not give Alexis a chance every time I've seen him. He's been really impressive. I think we should play 4-5-1, but change Roberts for Miyenda. Stephen Martin on the chat says, why play Watson when we try to sell him in January? Jamie, do you think the team have given up on automatics and are just now playing for the playoffs?
Yes, I think the team's definitely gave up. Since Preston, they've probably gave up since trying to get the playoffs. What an amazing opportunity it was. If we beat Preston, what a great opportunity it would have been to be in, like, still sort of in the mix in the top two.
Well, to be honest, Jamie, we are going to come on to that as well. And obviously that night other people dropped points as well. But, you know, it's, I mean, I was confident, as I always am with Sunderland. And to be fair to Terry, last Sunday sort of shot me down. I was saying, right, we win all our games. The other people are going to drop points still. You know, the other people that are capable of dropping points, of course they are. But unless we're going to win, it's all irrelevant. So, like I say, even I'm sort of giving up on that. I just want to go on, Terry.
The best Sunderland side that I've seen this season is a Sunderland that seems fired up, was full of fire in the belly and urgency and high press. That kind of Sunderland, I haven't seen that for a few games. I haven't seen that for I haven't seen that kind of performance since maybe the Middlesbrough game. Since the Middlesbrough game, we fell apart a little bit. And there seems to be no sort of fire in anybody's belly at this moment in time.
All right, okay, just very quickly then. Mick Griffiths on here says he agrees with Terry. Top two went ages ago, so he agrees with you, Terry. SJ says Lefay is supposed to be back for Millwall, so that's a bit of good news, could be. I just want a quick yes or no on this because I think it's pretty clear cut. So I'll just pass it around and just give us a yes or no on it. Emma, their penalty, was it a penalty? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Jamie, was it a penalty? Their first one or second one?
It was a daft challenge, like.
Yeah, Terry.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think there was any real dispute on it. I just thought I would chuck it in anyway. Right, here's a question for you then.
Hello, right there. One quick second there. I think a couple of times this season, Mepham's done that. And he seems to be over that side where Logo 9's supposed to be to put the challenges. So I don't know whether he's doing more than he's supposed to be, but he seems to be all over. I always thought Mepham was on the other side and Logo 9 was on this side. So I don't know where Logo 9 was for the last couple of times when Mepham's made those rash challenges and being forced into those rash challenges. So, you know, I said this, you know, earlier, at the beginning, like somewhere through the season. If we want to progress and eventually make the Premier League, we need to invest in some proper quality centre backs. You know, Logo 9's been great all season. He puts his heart on his sleeve. And for me, Logo 9 was a better player yesterday. You know, he was one that was sort of getting amongst it and trying it. But to get to that next level up, we need that next level of quality of player. And I don't think, you know, as much as I love Logo 9 as a player, brilliant, I don't think he makes the Premier League in my eyes.
Right, okay. Let me quickly go to the chat. John Nesbitt says midfield is the problem. So in Brown, Lefay, Job, drop Neil Rigg. The latter is burnt out, and Neil, in my opinion, is very poor. David Brown says we need a midfield enforcer. Marianne and Carl Taylor, exactly. Job, Neil, Rigg need rotating. They're knackered down there. It says, let me put this question to you then. All right. Should we take the captaincy off Dan Neil? Dan Neil, since he got the captaincy, Dan Neil was a good player. And I think we've all got to agree he's been worse this season. All right, he's had little spells where he's been all right. But overall, he's not been very good. Should we not take it off him? Or do you think that might have a negative effect by taking it off him halfway through the season? Emma?
Yes, we should take it off him. I mean, I get what you're saying about the negative effect. I really, really do. Because it will knock his confidence. I get that. But I said this months ago. Since he's become captain, he has been utter shite. He's not who he was. So has that, I wouldn't even say power, has that pressure getting to him?
All right, I tell you what, Emma, Right, you take the captaincy off Dan Neil. Who would you give it to?
I'd give it back to 09.
Right, okay. Jamie, would you take the captain's armband off Dan Neil and give it to someone else?
Ooh. I would say take it off him and give it a Luke 09, you know.
Right, okay. Jamie, do you think Dan Neil's been played worse having the armband? Do you think it's had an effect on him?
Kind of, but there's been some games where he's been absolutely phenomenal.
Listen, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. I agree. He's had some games where he has been great, but I'm saying overall this season, he's had more bad games than he's had good games. Terry, would you take it off him? Do you think it might have a negative effect if we did that?
You get the international break over and done with. The Fair's fit, Brown's fit, Job's fit, Riggs fit, and Neil's fit. He's going to put 3 in there, isn't he? He's not going to drop Job. So Job goes straight in. For me, you've got to start.
Neil. He won't drop the captain though, will he?
Well, he took him off yesterday, didn't he? So that might be a little inkling. And if his form's dropped off, he may. For me, if I was in charge, I'd give Brown the captaincy and I'd start the fair with Job. And I wouldn't strip Neil of the captaincy. I just put him on the bench. And I'll let Brown have a go because Brown's got the experience of Preston being captain, got all the bags of experience, and we need that experience now for the run into the playoffs. So for me, my 3 is Brown, Lafay, and Job. That's how I would try and start against Millwall and see how that goes and put Neil on the bench and let Brown have the captaincy. And if Neil comes on for Brown, then obviously Neil gets the captaincy back.
Right, okay. Just very quickly, I want to go to the chat on this. Glenn, the Sky Blue Hub. So I'm assuming, Glenn, you're a Coventry fan down there. He's having his opinion about our players, Metten being a liability, blah, blah, blah. What I'll ask you, Glenn, if you don't mind putting in the chat, were you really good yesterday, your team? Was that a brilliant performance of you, or was it just that we were really bad and we made you look better than you normally are, Terry?
Yeah, I don't want to sort of, give everybody in the high hopes of false security for other teams and that. But I say we were 30% of our best yesterday, at least 30% of our best. And that was the majority of the side. So that's not the team you'll see for me performing in the playoff semi-finals to begin with. I think we'll be a lot better than that come the semi-finals.
Yeah, I think the amount of people, I said it myself, but I think the amount of people I've heard say yesterday, if we play like that, forget going to Wembley, forget any of that, because that's not going to happen. And I did say last Sunday that I thought, even though Coventry are a bogey team and they're the team with the ascendancy, on that role or whatever. But I did say last week I thought that they'd probably peaked too early. There's still another 9 games or so, 8 or 9 games left, and of course then they went and lost midweek. And I thought, but then. They won against us, but we, like you said, I agree, we were very bad yesterday. That's the worst we played all season. So I'd hate to think teams are going to think, well, we beat Sunderland and Sunderland are 4th, because that wasn't us yesterday. Terry, where you want back in?
Yeah, let's face it, Labry's still a young head coach, and he's not going to want to fail. So he's going to see that yesterday, and he's going to have to make some changes and sort stuff out and get them back on the straight and narrow for the run-in and for the playoffs, because he'll want to put this behind them. And I think he'll have to make some difficult decisions coming up.
Right, okay. Right, just very quickly, we've got 62 likes at the moment. We try and get 100 if we can on a Sunday night. So just hit the thumbs up, do us a favour. They'll take you a second to do that. And if you're watching and you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner and subscribe. It's free to do so, and we'll love you forevermore. Regis Labrise says, he said the players are tired, apparently. Right. And don't get me started on this because I know it's a bugbear of mine. But he says they're tired. All right. So has the international break come at the right time for us? I know it's always nice winning going into an international break, but do you think it's come at the right time? Terry?
With that performance, 100%. I think they're all going to walk away from that and they've got time to reflect. And I said on my channel, and I might be wrong, and it's just my opinion, I wouldn't let anybody go away in national break. I'd just cancel the whole lot. I take them somewhere in the country, in this country somewhere, and I get them in a training camp. I get them together. I get them working hard, getting them resting well, and I get them training. I get them all back together again. Try and get them in a good headspace for the running, because players going away in international duty for me is just, I wouldn't let it happen. Simple as. Not after that performance yesterday, what they've done yesterday. Me, they need to take a long hard look in the mirror, take stock, and get together and work hard between now and get the whole collectiveness together.
Right, okay. Just very quickly, back on the chat down here. What was it? SAFC Tom, on a personal note, we smashed Cov in the playoffs, in the playoff final, and get them back. Great day in London. That would be nice. David says I would drop Job for Lafay, but Reggie will not do that apparently. Jamie, has this international break come at the right time? Then, whether it's to rest the players or get their heads back around this, has it come at a good time?
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's came at a perfect time. Hopefully, we can bounce back against Millwall in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, there is that thing when you have won your last game and you go into an international break, the international break breaks up, it stops that momentum. Whereas I suppose losing going into it gives you time to regroup and go again. Emma, is it a good time for the international break now? Then, do you think?
After the last two performances, yes. So it gives them time to sort of, I don't know, I wouldn't say regroup, get them rocket up that bloody backsides and get a good kick in, be fair.
Yeah, I mean, I know on this channel we're massive. We hate international breaks. They're a nightmare, but I think I've got to agree. I think it's probably come at a good time. Yesterday then, we were terrible. We lost 3-0. Is there any positives? I'm not going to ask you for a man of the match because I don't think anybody for us even deserves that. But is there any positives we can take from the game even? Terry?
Yeah, the performances have tapered off over the weeks. It's been coming to a head, and I think this is the pinnacle. I think this will make one or two people stand up and have a good think about the situation and hopefully reset and go again after the national break. And hopefully we should make the playoffs all right, and we'll start getting to see some better performance. I'm hoping.
Yeah, I think if you're turning it round and trying to look for positives out of yesterday, I think it could be that kick up the arse where you say, if you think the playoffs are nailed on, and I mean, if we don't, it's an absolute disaster if we don't make the playoffs. But it could be that kick up the arse.
And also as well, that goes for the head coach. He couldn't motivate his side yesterday one single bit, so he needs to look at himself in the mirror as well and sort of reset himself and what his ambitions are. Has he got any ambitions? Hopefully he has. Let's get the playoffs. Let's get sorted out.
Right, okay. Before I come to you two on this, John Swinney, down in New Zealand. Great time for us fans to have a break after that performance here. Ollie Alexander Blackett Hagen. There you go. Terry, you should have your own SAFC live stream, like with Jalsey and Steve and Wee Philly. I don't think you realise the work what goes into these streams to get everybody together doing that, but nice idea. Emma, any positives from yesterday then at all? You can say no if you don't think there is, mind.
For me, right, and people's probably going to slate us for this, but slate away. I don't wish a player to be injured, but Cirkin being injured, because I think he has been absolutely utter crap for weeks and weeks and weeks. I've wanted him dropped. So that's a positive for me, but that's me personally, even though I don't want a player injured. But I'd say the only positive I'd potentially take is if we come up against Coventry in the playoffs, then players are going to know what to expect from a Coventry team.
Right, okay. Jamie, was there any positives to take out of yesterday or not?
There's only one thing I can remember that was positive, and that was the really good save Preston made. I think it was in the second half, I do believe, from a corner, I think it was. Okay,
all right. Well, fair enough. Just very quickly, there's a couple of here saying Marianne and Cartella says sealed man of the match. Dan Wilkes agrees with that as well. Oh, I just thought the whole team were just dreadful. All right, I'll tell you what. One more before we move off yesterday.
What did I say, Phil? As well, yeah, I want to say a thing as well. It's good to see Seals back on the pitch, and he looked all right for yesterday. So it's nice to have him back because we need another strong centre back. And the 2-week break, hopefully, we'll see Yelda get back from his little bit of a niggle or injury he's had, because I thought he played all right the last couple of games when he played. So it's a shame he got injured. I don't know whether it was in training, some sort of niggle for a few weeks, because obviously he's just a replacement for Circle straight away, isn't he?
Well, yeah, this is it as well, though, Terry. I mean, if Reggie's saying that the players are tired, there's he doesn't swap them round. Like, I mean, I think Marianne and Carl Taylor was on about Alexic and stuff like that. He's got players there who, if players are genuinely tired, then, and he believes they're tired, well, why not, why not switch it around? Right, I'll tell you what I want to put to you then, right? Let's accept that it's the playoffs. And I know that's still not nailed on, but, it would be a disaster if we don't make the playoffs. Let's say we've made the playoffs. What would be your ideal outcome? Who would you sort of prefer? And I know it's difficult because we haven't got the 4 while being in the playoffs, but your ideal outcome for the semi-final and the final at Wembley. Emma?
I'd probably say...
Sorry, I'll tell you what, we'll make it easy. Let's say Leeds and Sheffield United have got the top 2.
I'd probably say Borough, but I would have a sneaky feeling that because I've got a sneaky feeling that Borough would do it over because we did them at their place, which we haven't done for so long.
Yes. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. But I think Borough would be the better options for us, effectively.
Well, they're not on good form, are they? Jamie, if you had a choice of playing somebody in the playoffs, then who would you prefer?
Oh, it's tough. Like, just any team but Coventry, but I'd prefer Middlesbrough probably.
Well, I mean, because West Brom's hovering about there, Bristol City hovering around. Terry, what about you? Ideal outcome?
Haven't we got West Brom coming up?
Yeah, West Brom. I think are 6th now or something like that.
No, we've got to play them in a couple of weeks, haven't we?
Yeah.
Right. Yes, that's coming up. But Terry, ideal outcome in the playoffs for you?
I want Coventry City in the semi-finals because I mean we've seen them yesterday. They've played against our 60% side,
and
let's get this monkey off our back. Let's beat Coventry over 2 legs and play Bristol City in the final. Be amazing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, there is that thing, Terry, like you say, Coventry could go into a game playing us. If they play us in the playoff, either the semi or the final, they're probably going to go in there thinking we battered them 3-0. And like you said, that wasn't us.
Might be overconfident. We've got to beat whoever we're up against anyway. So we've got to make sure we run our job, but we've really sort of, they've got to put a bit of practice into passing these balls as well. A lot of our long balls yesterday, all our raking balls, were just cut out and sniffed out far too easy. We're too slow. We need some of these players back fit. Say Mundell's still not 100% fit. You got Lefay needs to come back. You've got Watson who's not 100% fit. So these players will need 2 more weeks and more game time. So we might see the best Sunderland in the playoffs.
Right, okay, I'll tell you what then. Just very quickly, let me go back to chat. Dan, who I'm now assuming, Dan, you're a Coventry City fan, says, sorry, it's been a shocking weekend for you, seeing the playoffs in May. So that's what he's saying. Ian Brown is saying Sunderland versus Bristol City is ideal. Marianne and Carl Taylor agree, Bristol City. John Swinney, hope Borough and Bristol City sneak in. We get Borough in the final. Marianne and Carl Taylor, Borough final. We got their number. So all these suggestions coming in. Right then. I quickly want to get onto this thing. I'll tell you what, if you hit the like button, by the way, what likes are we on? Just do as that. Take a second to do that. We try to get to 100. We need another 21 likes. That'll hit the 100 as we do try to get to on a Sunday. This,
sorry,
right, listen, this week the season ticket renewals have come out. I'm sure you've all received them via email. There's a price hike. It's gone up. I can't remember what mine was last season. I think mine might have been about 540, but mine's 580 this season. Do you think it's a fair increase? I think it's been about 40 quid they've all increased. Jamie, do you think it's a fair increase what they've gone up?
Wait, what is it, Rick?
The season tickets for next season, they've increased in price. Do you think it's a fair
increasing? I don't even know.
Did you not know? All right, listen, we'll move off you then. We'll move off you, Jamie. Emma, do you think 40 quid increase is fair?
Some of them have gone up more than 40 quid, Phil. So I've had a look.
Because I know you put it in our group chat.
Yeah, so I've had a look. And under 18s has gone up from 105 quid to 190 quid for an under 18s. They've took away the under 16s category. It's now under 14s. They've gone up from, it was 55
they've gone up 40 quid, haven't they?
To 90 quid, yeah. But so the biggest increase has been on the under 18s ones, which I think going up. When I've worked it out, it's over £200 increase for me and the family for next season. And I'm sorry, but that is a lot of money.
Yeah, definitely, Emma. I mean, yeah, I was going to come on to that. Scrapping the under 16 tickets a little bit sneaky, I know. So the increase for an under 18 has jumped quite massively. Terry, you can understand it if we get promoted and we go to the Premier League. You can get that. £40, quite a hefty increase. Do you think it's fair or not?
Oh, it is for people like Emma where they've got a family, and like I said, the under 16's gone and the under 18's has been put up by £70. It's very steep, isn't it? I mean, I don't know what other clubs are like, so whether they think they can just toe the line and get in sort of line with other clubs. I'm not sure how we are in the run of how cheap our season cards are. I think we were cheaper than Carlisle at one point. So it is what it is, end of the day. I mean,
yeah, all right. Well, I'll tell you what they've also done, though. I'm sure you've worked it out. Little bit. Do you think it's a good idea? They've gone. It used to be 4 direct debits, and now it's gone to 6 direct debits. Because when I'd noticed my email came through, I thought, oh, that direct debit's gone down in price to what I was paying last year. And then I realised they've done 6 instead of 4. So do you think it's just a clever way of making people think that, oh, it's actually a bit cheap, even though there's more direct debits? But it also gives a bit more affordability. If you like, even though they've gone up, those payments, even there's more of them, are a little bit less. Terry, do you think it's a good idea of them doing that?
Well, if the club's running at a loss, then obviously they're going to try and make money from somewhere, and it does make it a bit easier for people to pay over 6 months. But I mean, it's interest free, and you can pay on one lump sum if you want to pay in one lump sum. It's entirely up to you if you want to pay it all in one go. But it makes it easier for likes of people with families like Emma who have got a massive hike and they can pay it over 6 months rather than 4. But at the end of the day, everyone has a choice. If it becomes to the point where it's too unaffordable, then people will just stop buying the tickets, won't they?
Right, okay. Quick question to you, Terry, off the chat here. Ian Brown says to you, Terry, would you say the majority of your subscribers came from you finding the white cream egg?
Can if you did in the olden days, right there.
Right, okay. Emma, 6 direct debits instead of 4. Does that actually help you out, or does it not? Because it's still more money you're paying.
Yeah, not really. I mean, it doesn't exactly. It kind of helps your budget, but it doesn't, because it was sort of like you'd miss a month, then you'd pay a month, then you'd miss a month, then you'd pay a month. But now, so you'd have to save beforehand. But I would rather the 4 direct debits, so it's sort of giving us that little bit longer. So if I don't know if my car breaks down, needs new tires, I can get them that month and think, oh, well, I'll worry about my season ticket next month. But now it's going to be a case of, well, I need that season ticket money to stuff my car. Do you know what I mean? But without my car, I can't get to the games. I'd prefer the 4.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, Emma, I think what they've done, I mean, it used to be every 2 months, But I think the last payment is about the same time, because I think it's just about the start of the season, or just into the start of the season. And your first payment comes out, I think it's May, and then it's not June, and then I think it's July, August, September, October, November, I think. So they go out monthly after that. Terry?
I want to go back to that previous comment. I've had a bit of a think now. I remember back in 2017, I'd moved house and I was in the attic, doing the attic out. And I was thinking, why is
your mum's loft?
Why is the 500 people subscribed to my channel? Why is 500 people watching this daft bloke doing stuff about football? Then I made the cream egg video. It went from about 2K to 4K. That good. But I mean, my other channel, Mad's Out and About, got over 5,500 now nearly, and that's got no cream eggs on whatsoever.
Brilliant. You give that a plug at the end. All right. I noticed you put something on. I didn't have time to watch it if I came on here, but I noticed you put stuff. It's one of them things. You do something, you can never guarantee. You might do a bit of content and you think this is going to be great. This got loads of people watching, loads of stuff, and it just doesn't, you know. And I mean, when we got the Jermaine Defoe scoop, when we did the transfer deadline, you know, we were lucky. It was brilliant for the channel. And we were lucky. And I hadn't even planned to go to the academy that night. It was just, you know what, I'll go down. And we were lucky. And Jermaine Defoe put the window down and we got that scoop. And we got massive, our subscribers up. I had BBC Radio 2 on, people ringing up for interviews and everything. And great. But it wasn't planned. It just,
it's mad, isn't it? And then you make a video and you think this is going to be brilliant. And it just completely flops. And you think, what? We've done that on a number of occasions. Thought, right, we're going to do this. It's going to be great, and it's not been right. Just a bit of info. I just want to put this out for people watching, by the way, in case you don't know. And thanks to Emma for this, because Emma's actually been talking to the club about it. But the info is obviously everything's digital now, so your season card goes on your phone and stuff. But some people still prefer to have a card, a physical plastic card. They are going to be available this season. You've got to wait until June before you can do that, but then you can apply for that. They'll put a list, and I think have you got it collected? They won't send it out, will they, Emma? Is that right?
They didn't actually say, to be honest.
You don't know, right? But it's going to be £15 per card if you want one of those. So that's great. And it does take away that thing of where if you're not going to the match and you want someone else to use your ticket, I know you can do it by transferring it, but you can just give them your card if you wanted to do that. Terry, on mute.
Yeah, on mute.
Do that every time, don't they? You can do that anyway. You can just send an email to one of your close friends, and then they can download it into their wallet. To be fair, I was a bit worried at the start to do with would rather have an old season card than in my wallet. I actually like it on my phone now, to be honest. Well,
I do. To be fair, and I know you can't screenshot your QR code or anything like that, but all I've done is I've taken a photograph of it. So I've actually got a photograph of it. And what I've done before, my son used my card once, and he's, rather than transfer it over, I just sent him that picture and he used it on his phone and it works fine. So you can get around it like that. Right, listen.
To be honest,
so that's the info. If you do want a plastic card, they are going to be available this season. You've got to wait till June, apply £15, and you can have a card or two or however many you would like to pay for. Right, okay, what we got 10 minutes left. We need 15, 16 more likes. Hit that thumbs up for us. Let's get us to 100 before we finish. We've got 132 people on the stream watching at the moment. Midweek, Sunderland. Terry,
I want to ask Jamie, what category are you in for a season card?
Under 22.
Under 22, right? Is that going to buy much? Or do you want more, will you?
I didn't check.
Where do you sit in the ground, Jamie? Where's your seat in the ground? What stand you in, do you know?
Well, last season I sat in the East stand.
Right.
But this season I did get a season ticket this season. So I've just been
okay. So you've just been going to games as you want to, yes?
Mainly the concourse I've been sitting.
Emma, you want then?
Just something what Dan said in the chat as well about this 70% of games for under 14s and things like that is an absolute joke by the club as well, because the younger fans are the next generation of this football club. So why are they threatening to take the season tickets off?
Yeah, that's a fair point you bring up there. I mean, I did read about that. I forgot to mention it in there. But Dan Wilkes says, under 14s, what the club have done, they put out this statement saying that if you don't go to 70% of the games, you could get your season card cancelled, right? And the reasoning around that apparently is because they don't really want empty seats in the ground. They'd rather people go in, right? However, that's fine. If we sell out every single game, then you can understand an empty seat could be filled by someone, better atmosphere, fill it and what have you. But the fact, we don't sell out. We don't. And I just think it's a bit of a wrong move from the club. It's not very it's not very kind to the sports. Terry?
So why are we picking on the under 14s? What's the reasoning behind that?
Well, yeah. Well, I don't know, but it could it not be because maybe adults are buying an under 14s as an extra ticket, so that if we go to Wembley, you get 2 tickets for Wembley and never really using. Just an idea. I don't know.
Are they worried in case somebody's buying under 14, then the adults passing on to adults use that? I don't know.
But if they've got that ticketing team in, haven't they, where they're watching you going through the turnstiles and watching the colours above. So that's going to stop that regardless. But if that's the case, right, what I've said is if that's what they want to do, why don't they give you the option of, if you say that your child cannot go to that game, you sell that ticket back to the club effectively. If the club can sell your seat, that bench seat for that game, they maybe give you 10% of that back off your season ticket for the season after. Some daft like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a fair point. It's
common sense.
Emma, that's a good point. I get what you said, Terry. Why they're picking on the under 14s? Great idea, Emma, because what you're doing there, if you can't go, you have got the ability to transfer that ticket to someone else. For the club are not getting any extra money. But you're right. If they can't go, why not have the club? Oh, well, I suppose if the club buy it back, they're still not going to. Forget that idea.
Only if the club sell that ticket. Do you know what I mean? Because you might know.
Should there be some sort of way of you being, say, for instance, you got an under 14 ticket and he gives it to, say, his dad, and his dad just goes to the ticket office and says, right, I've got my son's ticket. Can I just pay the difference?
All right, look, I'll tell you what, listen, let me quickly move on to this because we're running out of time now. Tuesday night, Sunderland versus Preston. Fair play to Terry. Terry, you called it. You said, don't think Preston are going to be a pushover. You said they're a better team than you think. They came. First of all, let me quickly run this round here. Were we actually lucky to get a draw, Emma?
Well, to be honest with you, Phil, I had issues in my stream, so I think I only saw about 35 minutes of the game.
Right. Okay, then. All right, Jamie, did you watch the match on Tuesday against Preston?
Unfortunately, yes, I did watch it.
Were we lucky? Were we lucky to get a draw, do you think?
Yeah. Well, then again, though, both sides missed so much sitters. It was crazy. I couldn't believe what I was watching. It was nuts.
Yeah, all right. Okay, listen, Terry, were we lucky to get a draw on Tuesday night, do you think?
I say Preston were the architects of their own downfall because they had the game won. We had no fight, no fire in the belly. But as soon as they start pissing about wasting 7 minutes of injury, 7 minutes of time, rolling around on the ground,
right, Terry, let me stop you because that's my next thing. All right, so their time wasting was probably the worst I've seen, certainly this season. Right, pathetic. Really bad. Now, what do you think? What do you think the answer is to that? Players, it happens all the time now, right? Now, this rule of where if it's a head injury, regardless, the referee has to stop it, and there's nothing wrong with that rule. If it's a genuine head injury, of course you've got to stop it. It's important to do that. I'm not questioning that at all. The problem is players are going down immediately, holding the red like that, has to get stopped when there's nothing wrong with them. So their time wasting antics were absolutely dreadful. But what do you think? What do you think is a solution to stopping it, like as bad as what it was the other night? Terry, what do you think?
On this specific occasion, right, the player went down with a head injury. As soon as he blew his whistle, the player got straight up.
Yeah.
Nothing, straight up, but he got told to go off the pitch. Now, 2 or 3 of the players took turns and going down. Clubs like this, when that happens, the clubs need fining. Simple as. The FA got to put the foot down on this time-wasting bullshit. You know, one player going down, fair enough, gets up, has a bit of treatment. But when 3 or 4 players like that go down in consecutive time, even their captain was pushing one of their players off the pitch. Absolutely pathetic, and they got what they deserved. They fired up our players. I mean, it's pretty pathetic our players needed firing up in the first place, but it riled the players up, and Preston got what they deserved. They got nursery time, 9 minutes of nursery time, because to see grown men crawling around on the ground like little babies, it's pathetic.
Right, I'll tell you what then, Terry. What do you think about this? And in a way, it works and it doesn't work, because it does punish genuine cases when players are injured. What about if you go down injured, right? You have to go off the pitch, which if a trainer comes on, if the trainer comes on, you have to do that anyway. But if you go down injured, you have to go out the pitch and you have to stay off for 5 minutes, right? Regardless if you're genuinely injured or not. Would that not stop people just going down and going off they would have had 3 players off the pitch for 5 minutes, the way they went on the other night. Do you think that could work, or is that a stupid idea? Terry?
What was the actual original question? Because every time you said something, the screen went off and I couldn't see anything.
I'm saying if a player went down injured, and it does punish genuine cases, if a player went down injured, right, they have to go off the pitch for 5 minutes, right? It would have meant the other night they'd had 3 players off the pitch for 5 minutes. And then, like I said, it does punish somebody who's genuinely injured and that. But it would stop people just going down trying to do that. Good idea, bad idea.
They need to come up with something. I think 5 minutes is a bit over the top, like, but I think they need to come up with something along those lines where they leave the pitch for maybe 2 minutes or a minute or something. I think 5 minutes maybe is a bit long.
Right. Emma, do you have any solutions to this? I mean, the way they went on Tuesday was cheating. It was just nothing.
Cheating's not the word. I've seen that. I mean, to me, every player that was involved should have gotten at least a yellow card. So maybe that could be an answer, is if they're taking the pay, basically they get a yellow card, because then it mounts up and then it becomes a match ban. Do you know what I mean? So could that maybe be a solution?
The thing is, Emma, the problem is with it. I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but even if you go down deliberately when you're not injured, you would stay down and certainly hobble off, right? So that you've made it look like it was a genuine injury, and so you don't get a card. I don't know.
I mean, Jamie, the whole thing with Preston the other night is he was that close to the line. Why didn't he crawl over? You know what I mean?
That rule should be a given, right? Nobody should be allowed to go down, whether you're injured or you're faking it or whatever, so close to the line. Drag them off the pitch. It's just doesn't work. Something needs to be done. Jamie, this time wasting what went on with Preston, how do you think it can be solved? Have you got any ideas on it or not?
I think I agree with Emma. There should be yellow cards for it, like.
Right. Okay. Look. Right. All right. Listen, we are just about out of time. We've got 95 likes. All I need is 5 people to hit that thumbs up, and that'd be great. That'll hit the 100. We always do on a Sunday. Listen, thanks for tuning in. You've been absolutely superb. Thanks to everybody on here. Terry, do you just want to say goodbye to everybody?
Yeah, there's one thing today that makes this whole weekend even worse than any other weekend, or even worse than the bit on Friday that's gone. I'm back to work tomorrow. It's a nightmare.
Good man. No, it's awful. I mean, I'll have my say at the end. Jamie, just say bye to everybody, would you?
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Good man. Thank you very much. Emma, say bye to everybody.
See you later, everybody. Enjoy the national break.
All right, good man. Listen, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget, if you remember, watch for your name in the credits at the end. And I have got a good bit of good news. I'm not at work tonight. Yes, so my weekend has already begun. That's why I'm on vodka and coke. Thank you very much. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you. Well, we'll see you again soon. Bye bye.
See you.